Cincinnati finally broke through in the AAC last year and won the entire conference. They came very close to beating Georgia in the Peach Bowl, and they're back to prove that they can do that again. Is a college football playoff appearance on their horizon? We'll find out. They have a good schedule, playing teams like Notre Dame and Indiana, but also the in-conference play should be better as well. If they somehow manage to win all those games, Luke Fickell and his team have a legitimate case to make the college football playoff. They don't lose a lot of talent, which makes this list very hard to put together, but these 10 guys are the guys that made the list. Number 10 is Alec Pierce. Now, Alec Pierce does not get nearly enough attention in terms of college football at all. At all. He doesn't get any attention. But in the AAC, he's one of the most underrated players in the conference. His career, he's averaging 17.9 yards per catch. He's a great 50-50 ball catcher and a guy that's going to really help this passing game take the next step. And at number 9 is a guy who's relatively new, safety Bryant Cook. He stepped in really well when James Wiggins was hurt last year, and he's going to be a guy that doesn't need much time to get going in 2021. His game against Georgia in that Peach Bowl was phenomenal. He acted like he had been starting all year, and I have no concerns with him taking over. The real concern is just the depth that's going to be behind him and the next guy in safety, Javon Hicks. Now, Hicks is 2 years removed from a year, and he had 5 interceptions. So this is a guy who's proven that he can play at the highest level, and now that Derek Forrest is gone, he can take his spot as well. Number 7, running back Jerome Ford, the former Alabama transfer, takes over for Jared Dokes, and he's a guy who I think is going to be an absolute stud. He had 483 yards and 8 touchdowns last year as a backup, and he proved that he has big playability. He did that against Georgia and a couple other teams last year, and a 1,000-yard season is not unrealistic. That's definitely something he can accomplish, and this running game should be quite good, even without 2 of their returning linemen. Number 6, defensive tackle Curtis Brooks. Now, I think a lot of people picked Curtis Brooks to be the stud on the defensive line. I personally had Elijah Ponder, and Ponder proved to be the correct choice. Brooks is still a very talented player, and now Ponder's gone, so it's his job, really. He and Marcus Brown will lead the way on the interior part of the defensive line. We'll talk about another guy that will run the edge, but Curtis Brooks is a guy who can definitely be a star for this team. Number 5, Josh Wiley at tight end. He only had 350 yards and 6 touchdowns last year, but he's one of the best. Pro Football Focus really likes him. A lot of people are really paying attention to what he can do. He's a big tight end that can block and can catch, and he and backup Leonard Taylor are going to be a great addition, or great options, I should say, for quarterback Desmond Ritter, who we'll talk about in just a sec, in terms of making easy passes and being able to contribute to the run game as well. Number 4 is cornerback Kobe Bryant. Cincinnati has 2 of the best corners, at least in terms of name-wise. One of them is one of the best corners in the country, and we'll talk about him as well. Desmond Ritter, can he be the guy that we saw at the end of the year, or is he going to be the guy that struggled and almost lost his job to Ben Bryant? We'll find out. That's going to be a big key in determining how good Cincinnati will be this year. Number 2, Myjai Standers, one of the best defensive ends in all of college football, had 10.5 tackles for loss, 7 sacks last year, first team All AAC guy. Number 1, Sas Ahmad Gardner. This is an All-American talent, a potential first-round pick in next year's draft, and one of the best corners in all of college football. Cincinnati, again, doesn't lose much. They get a bunch of guys back, and there's no reason why they can't make the college football playoff this year.